Hi, this is Robert Wilkins, aka Basketball Tall. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about why did I choose the college which I did, East Central Oklahoma State University. So why did I choose East Central? It began when I was a freshman in high school on a December morning, riding the bus to school. And you can tell based on the behavior of the upperclassmen, there was something in the air. I had no idea what was about to take place that morning. But as we got off the bus, my cousin gave me his coat, and before I knew it, I was the coat boy. Everybody piled coats on me. And I just walked around with the crowd because you can see everyone started rolling up their sleeves. And suddenly, a fight kicked off over the entire school. That's right, we were involved in war. It was a race riot right in the heart of the white community that was once an all-white school, and now the school board had tried to make it 50-50 as far as half and half when it came down to race. And we're talking over 1,000 students. Imagine your ninth grade child thrust into war. It was really war. There was fighting upstairs, downstairs, courtyard, over the entire campus, watching teachers fighting. I still remember this coach with his red hair being taken down by a bunch of students. They were kicking him and stomping him, but he was swinging in the process. And then seeing the police come. And then all of a sudden the ambulance services come, taking people off in stretchers. It was war at school. Then on May 18th, 1976, graduation day. And when I graduated on May 18th, the next following morning, I was en route to Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, Texas. The assistant coach had come to my graduation, in which I had visited the school earlier and signed a letter of intent. And I was on my way to Sam Houston. While there, I lived in the athletic dorm, had a meal plan, had a job, and had no class. Now, I don't know about the statute of limitations, but I think it may have expired by now, wouldn't you think so? But the thing is, being at Sam Houston, and it was about late July when my roommate, who I had not known before Sam Houston, had gotten into trouble for stealing. And while I was in the dorm, which was an athletic dorm, that morning, sitting on the bed, and suddenly the door came open. And I couldn't see because I was off on the side. And a person walked through the door, looked like a detective, with his hand on his gun, crouched very low, coming into the room. And I'm looking at him as he come in. And before I knew it, the room was full of police officers. And the last person to walk in was a guy, he was about probably 6'4", maybe 260, 270 pounds. And he had on these traditional, I like to say cop shades. And he had his coat hanging over on his shoulder as he walked in and had a paper in his hand. And as I'm sitting on the bed, he threw that paper on my roommate's bed in front of me. I picked it up. I didn't even have time to really read it. Next thing I knew, I'm all on the wall, patting me down, getting a 3rd degree. And I still remember them saying, "You're in it, we're going to get you. We're going to get you." I was not involved in it whatsoever. I had nothing to do with what my roommate did. I wasn't even with him. But the thing is, they had a search warrant and searched the room, and I was in fright. I'm only 18 years old. I just got out of high school. I experienced a race riot in the 9th grade. Now I'm here at Sam Houston State getting a 3rd degree by the Huntsville Police Department. And of course, campus police was there as well. They didn't find anything they were looking for. They departed. But he said, "You're in it. We're going to get you." Because my roommate had stole something. Now, I'm getting ready to go to work. Had to walk about 6 or 7 blocks from the campus. As I walked out of the dorm, there was campus police parked in the parking lot facing the dorm. He picked me up time I walked out of my dorm. Now, as I get off campus, Huntsville PD also picks me up. That's right. They were following me just like you walk a dog. This is a true story. I'm at walking speed going to work about 6 or 7 blocks away to Piggly Wiggly grocery store. And the police, 2 officers in this car, followed me all the way there. They were not hiding it. They were letting it be known that we are following you because they were right there, right there. I could reach out and touch them. Then a few weeks later, Coach Denny Price called all the basketball players to the Coliseum to have a meeting. It's now August, getting ready for fall registration for class. And he'd get telling us, to cut our hair, shave, get our clothes, because he want us looking just right when fall class start. But then I go back to the dorm and I decided to some of the players, talking to the upperclassmen, I don't know if I want to go to school here because of my experience. And some of the upper guys told me, hey, you can go to JUCO and, decide maybe go 1 or 2 years, and then you can decide from there, go somewhere else where you want to go. I ended up at Murray State College in Tishomingo, Oklahoma. Why Murray State? Because when I was a junior in high school, our basketball team from Northeast Louisiana came to Oklahoma and played in a major, big basketball high school tournament there. The boys had their tournament and so did the girls. And it was at the all same location. And boy, what an experience we had, because we had a big ball club. We had our postman. He was 6'8". We had our 4, 6'7". I'm 6'5". We had a 6'2" guard and a 5'11" point man. But we were treated with it was like a celebrity status. It was hard to explain. People were touching on us, pulling us. And I could still remember my grandpa whispering in my ear, said, boy, don't you look that way. Boy, don't you do that. Boy, don't you look at that girl. And people were treating us like everybody else. People. I had never seen a Native American in my life. It was the first time I've seen an Indian. And then not just that, seeing Black, white, Indian, Hispanic, all come together socializing. This was off the charts. We had never witnessed anything like this until we were there. Then I leave from there and I go to Louisiana Tech University, getting close to home, only 29 miles from my home. And while there was a girl that played for Louisiana Tech. Because Louisiana Tech, back in those days, in the late 70s and the 80s, they were a dominant powerhouse for women Division I basketball. You're talking multiple championships, because Louisiana Tech women were dominant in the United States. And this one girl who was a sophomore at Murray State when I was a freshman, she dated our post player, Randy Denny. And they were both white. But keep in mind, at Tishomingo at Murray State, everybody socialized together. It was unheard of in our eyes. But the thing is, when I saw Judy, when we was changing classes, I was glad to see her because we all hung out. And I said, hey, Judy, how are you doing? I was happy to see her. She looked at me. She said, hi. Then she turned her head, walked away. But I get even saying bye. I realized then she had conformed to the environment. Coach Cobb then, who was the head coach at Murray State College when I was there, he gets the job at East Central Oklahoma State University, and he take 3 of his players with him, Cleve Bryant, Jeff Coleman, a.k.a. Slim, and John Cole. And then these guys, Slim and Cleve, kept calling me, Wilk, man, you got to come back with us, man, because we had a championship type ball club when we was at Murray State College. And they said, man, things are different, man. It's a whole lot greater here in Ada, man, East Central. Man, you got to come join us, man. It's off the charts. You'll love it. I ended up back in Oklahoma at East Central Oklahoma State University, joining those guys who I'd met when I was a freshman. Slim and Cleve were from Shreveport. So we had something in common, being from the state of Louisiana. And we were all tight, very close friends. And boy, you're talking about turning that program around at East Central. Wow. And we won conference. Then we went on and played in the District 9 championship against Cameron University, the #1 team in the country, and small college basketball, NAIA division at that time. And And I never knew the difference in NAIA, Division I, or any of those things, because where I come from, there's 3 major colleges. Division I's right in my backyard: University of Louisiana Monroe, Grambling State University, and Louisiana Tech. So I never knew the difference. I never even heard of D1 like you hear it today. But the thing is, we had D1 players, because those guys, when they were at Murray State, they had other opportunities to go play ball also elsewhere. So Coach Cobb brought those guys with him. And boy, playing Cameron in that District 9 championship game, the winner will go off and play in the national tournament. We lost. Cameron goes on to the national tournament and wins it. Then the following year, we repeat conference champs and find ourselves again knocking at the door for our 2nd straight year in the row to go to the national tournament. This time we're playing in the District 9 championship against Bethany Nazarene University. We lose to Bethany. Bethany then goes to the national tournament and wins it. 2 years in a row, we were knocking on the door. But the thing is, when I first came to East Central, my classification at that point I had to set out athletically was a junior. And during my junior year of eligibility, Cleve and Slim were now seniors. And my senior year, they were no longer playing ball, but Slim and I continued to be roommates. And one day after a playoff game, I go to the dorm. Slim's in the room and he says, "Will, man, I'm going to graduate." Now, never before has anybody that I had known that played ball, especially African-American, had graduated. And he was telling me, "Man, I'm getting ready to graduate." Now the light bulb sort of went off for me at that point in time, because I knew Slim and we knew each other's abilities, because we came together as freshmen at Murray State. And when he came and told me, looking at he was so excited that he was going to graduate. And right then and there, that's when I decided I'm going to graduate, because I knew his abilities just as he knew mine. And I felt that if he could do it, I can do it too. And I did. But playing ball at East Central, coming across some great players, mainly D1 players, because Coach Cobb was a great recruiter. We had Darnell Laster, Cleve Bryant, Jeff Slim Coleman. We had Mike Anderson, Donnie Bird, Marvin Gang, Sam Scott, Leon Harris, Bill Stewart. Created that winning tradition at East Central. And the Kerr Center itself is an attraction in itself. And the thing is, when you're in there and you see that dorm packed, it's a beautiful sight to see, because boy, it's just beautiful. And the thing is, the crowd and watching us guys go up and down the court, because we were D1 players and we changed the atmosphere at East Central. But when I came to East Central with Cleve and Slim giving me all the hype about it and how great it was, it lived up to the hype. Because when I got there that afternoon, about 3 o'clock or so, later that night at the Kerr Center, there was a band. They had a live band playing. Now, keep in mind, Cleve and Slim was telling me how great it was at East Central. Then I get there that day and enjoy a band, being at a party that night. That solidified everything for me. And I must tell you, it was a joy being at East Central. It was a true joy. I experienced peace. With peace come love and happiness, doesn't it? Now, I have a degree, and my goal was to pursue coaching and teaching. I wanted to be a coach, but I didn't want to be anybody's assistant coach. I wanted to do what my buddy Jeff Slim Coleman did. He went out and got him a head coaching job at a small high school. And I felt that I knew more than most, high school coaches anyhow, and I didn't want to be held down for a while being anybody's assistant. But as we know, things don't always happen the way that we hope sometimes. And so I was in insurance and I quit insurance. Meanwhile, now I'm married and I have a little boy. And I couldn't just sit at home and not work. And my wife being a secretary at Valley View Hospital, and I decided then, after watching T.J. Hooker, William Shatner, they were playing this cop show, and I thought, hey, I can type. I can get me a behind the scenes job like a dispatcher until I can get me a coaching and teaching job. But when I met with the chief of police, he started talking to me about becoming a policeman. Think about this. He wanted me to be a cop. Has being a police officer been on your radar? Seriously, be honest with me. It was never on my radar. In my wildest dreams, I never thought about being a cop because my image of a cop was always pretty much negative. So that's one of the things I did not want to do. And so I turned them down. And I go back to Ada. Meanwhile, bills don't stop. And so this time I called up Melba's cousin. Her name was Teresa Clay. She was the chief of police secretary and my wife's cousin. She said, sure, Will, we have 2 dispatcher jobs, but we don't have any black patrolmen. We need a black cop. And this was at Ardmore PD. Okay. And this time I dropped in unannounced. Next thing I know, the chief of police and the assistant chief were ganged up on me, trying to convince me to take this job. I had never in my life had anybody in my wildest dreams wanted me for a job so bad. And they were asking me, why won't you become a police officer? And I said this, well, maybe in a 1 in a million chance I stop somebody, that'd be the one that shoot me. And I was serious. And they started telling me about store clerks getting killed compared to policemen, firemen getting killed compared to policemen. We want you, talk it over. Here I got a job that I didn't accept, I don't want. Now I'm talking with everybody, why I shouldn't do this. And, bills don't stop. And I remember Slim said, while he was a successful head coach, man, what are you waiting for? I took the job. And I must say, it was a blessing in disguise. I went through Cleats Police Academy, completed that. And now I got my own unit and all of that. And it was different from anything I'd ever experienced. Then I did that a couple of years, and then I got an opportunity to become the district court juvenile officer. So I walked across the street of the courthouse for the 20th Judicial District. 3 judges who I answered to as my boss. I did that for a couple of years. Then I took a job with the Office of Juvenile Affairs, basically juvenile probation and parole. Then that's when I fell in love. I found my calling where I needed to be. And last of those 9 years, I was a supervisor of 5 counties. Now, in saying all of what I've said, experiencing a war in the 9th grade, experiencing what I like to call extreme harassment by the Huntsville Police Department when I had planned to attend Sam Houston State, then going to Louisiana Tech, and then watching a person who I had considered a friend had conformed to the environment and was afraid to even speak to me. Then coming back to Oklahoma and experiencing joy that I found at East Central University, in which I ended up getting my degree. And that degree spoke loudly for me. The evidence was at my retirement, I had 5 judges there. I had district attorneys, assistant district attorneys, sheriffs, police department, school principals, teachers, counselors from several counties. It was just off the charts. And here I was, I found where I felt the most happiness and joy. Thank you, East Central University. Thank you, God, for guiding me where I needed to be. Thank you.